Now, we know obviously Thomas Partey took a bit of a knock during, the international break. He has been training. Do you think training well enough, fit enough to play against Leeds on Saturday?
Well, I'd love to say that I've got Mikel Arteta's ear and I can actually listen to him and speak to him. But no, look, he might well be. I think looking at him in training, he was as involved as anybody else out there on the training field today, which is really good news for Arsenal fans. He's been vital for them in the centre of the park all season long. A lot of the good things that Arsenal have done all season have gone through him in the middle of the park, defensively and also offensively as well. Bringing that ball out from the back has been very, very important. So look, that would be really good news for all Arsenal fans to see him out there in training. I'd be very surprised, basically, if he's not in that starting lineup for the game against Leeds tomorrow, Saturday. Sorry, it's still Thursday. I don't know where the week's gone. I blame the international weeks. It completely throws you off, doesn't it? But we'll hear from Mikel Arteta tomorrow at his press conference for maybe a little bit more of an update. But look, from what I saw, Hayley, he looked fit, he looked fresh, he looked extremely happy to be back at London Colney with his Arsenal teammates as they embark on the challenge of those 10 finals to try and get themselves their first Premier League title since 2004.
I mean, it's going to get busy, isn't it? 10 games in 60 days for Arsenal to try and seal their first title in 19 years. How do you think Arteta is going to be approaching this run-in?
Yeah, you said 10 games in 60 days. Actually, that's probably not too bad, is it, really, at this stage of the season? I know Peter was speaking earlier. He was getting a bit exhausted talking about Manchester City's remaining fixtures with FA Cup commitments, with Champions League commitments as well. And we know the Champions League is a big aim for Manchester City. Here at Arsenal, though, without any European football, without any other cup competitions, their full focus now is on those 10 games. So 10 games in 60 days, maybe not that much at this stage of the season. I think the focus will, I've said it before in my life, it's so boring. And every time I ask a manager this question, I get bored listening to that same answer. But it's going to be one game at a time. Look, they've just got to continue to put points on the board. Let's not forget this Arsenal side have won their last 6 Premier League games. This was after a little mini wobble, so to speak, after the defeat to Manchester City at the Emirates Stadium. They bounced back, 6 Premier League wins in a row, maximum of 18 points. They're 8 points clear at the top of the table right now. Yes, Manchester City have a game in hand, but look, Arsenal in a really strong position going into this game against Leeds. Aside, Hayley, that they've got a fantastic recent record against. They've won 11 of the last 13 games against them as well. But I know, look, we could look at the fixture list. If you look at Arsenal's fixtures to come, they've got a trip to Anfield, they've got a trip to the Etihad Stadium, they've got a trip to St James's Park, which I'm sure a lot of fans, a lot of people, pundits, everybody's looking at those games as potential banana skins. But this stage of the season, even if they're playing against teams lower down the table, fighting for relegation, those teams are fighting for their lives in the Premier League, and they're all tough games. So look, Mikel Arteta will do it one game at a time, and that's all he's going to be focusing on right now.
Yeah, I guess it's an advantage as well, isn't it, not being involved in these other competitions like others, and Europe as well. However, the women's team, though, goodness me, coming thick and fast for them. They reached the Champions League semi-final for the first time in a decade. Is there a feel-good factor around the club at the moment overall?
I think there certainly is, Hayley. There feels like a different energy around Arsenal right now. And of course, it always is usually led by the men's first team. That's where it starts from. But look, the women's side have been fantastic for many, many years, this Arsenal side. But they're having a fantastic season and a great night last night at the Emirates Stadium in front of over 20,000 fans. Saw them beat Bayern Munich, get themselves a place in the Champions League semi-final. It's a great place to be around here, whether you're a coaching staff, whether you're a player, whether you're a fan of this football club as well. With the women's team doing so well, you've got the under-18s are in the FA Youth Cup semi-final next week. That's the team led by Jack Wilshere as well. And, of course, the first team men's fighting for a Premier League title. It's certainly good times at Arsenal right now. Look, they've been through some tough moments. We know what it's been here at Arsenal over the last few years, or certainly since the end of Arsene Wenger's reign at the club. But finally, something seems to be clicking into gear, and it's clicking into gear all around this football club right now.
Well, James, for now, thank you very much indeed. Now, Tottenham are preparing for their first game since Antonio Conte left the club. And since then, their director of football, Fabio Paratici, has been banned from football. Christian Stellini and Ryan Mason are in charge of the team for now. They're getting the side ready for a trip to Everton on Monday Night Football. Harry Kane returned to training as England's all-time record goal scorer. And there's Hugo Lloris pushing to be back in the team. There he is after returning to action in a behind closed doors friendly during the international break. Ivan Perisic and Richarlison were kept away from the main squad, both taking part in individual training as they work their way back from injury.